Hey everybody, what's going on? Helmlight here, bringing you another video from Grab the Lantern today. I'm a little late on this as 7.24 has actually dropped today, but it's time for another patch note rundown regardless. As always, I'll be going through the biggest changes that have come about in this patch and let you know what you guys can be looking forward to in the coming weeks. 7.24 is the last patch of the season. Now, you should be reading a couple of quotes around last, as we will have a sort of off patch in the middle of December for Bruisers, but it's the last major patch of the season for Riot to try and get things in a good spot before they go on break for Christmas and the New Year, as that will be a pretty large balance drought. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump right into it. This will be a little bit longer of a video, but it should still be a lot of interesting stuff to look at. First up, champion changes. Camille is being buffed. The loss of fervor really hurt Camille, especially in her trading windows. Instead of straight up giving her trading power back, Riot have elected to instead give her a little bit more flexible ways to trade. Her passive's duration is now up when the shield triggers, and her Q2 activation window is up, so she has a little bit more time to sit on that bonus auto attack damage. Darius is being buffed as well for similar reasons. The loss of runes and fervor really hurt his trading power, so he is getting some small buffs. His bleed damage has been increased, both the base damage and the 5-stack damage, and his Noxian Might bonus AD has been increased. It now increases at every level as well, so Darius will feel much stronger about getting hemorrhage on people and proccing Noxian Might. Ezreal is being nerfed in this patch, surprising nobody. He's the foremost klepto exploiter and doesn't really need any additional buffs to make him stronger. His Q's AD ratio is going down in order to offset some of the power he gets from kleptomancy. Galio is being buffed in this patch. He's struggling a little bit, and Riot want to reward him a little bit more for going in the middle of fights and basically going ham instead of sitting back and spamming Q. So Galio's passive ratio is down, but his W now deals damage when it taunts enemies. His E cooldown was also lowered, so Galio is a lot more incentivized to get into the middle of things and try to deal some damage. Ivern is being buffed this patch. He's been out of the meta for a while, but he's really struggling because Electrocute does so much more damage that Ivern doesn't have an opportunity to survive against aggressive early game junglers. So he's being buffed in a different way than just buffing Trigger Seed. Instead, his passive's health cost per grove has been reduced, so Ivern won't be hurting nearly as much as he's farming the jungle. Jarvan IV is also being nerfed in this patch. He's doing way too much damage for how tanky he is, especially due to Electrocute and how much damage that does. So he's being changed. His passive's damage is down, and his Q's damage has been reduced at later ranks. So Q max first Jarvans will feel the damage reduction, whereas tanky Jarvans won't feel it as much. Leona is another candidate for nerfs. Aftershock made her way too strong just due to how much damage she can possibly deal with the proc on it. So she's losing some damage on her W to compensate for the bonus damage she gets from Aftershock. Malzahar is also being nerfed in this patch. He can kill people basically with just his ultimate. That's a problem. So his ultimate has lost a tremendous amount of damage, so he actually has to press more buttons than just R. Morgana is getting some interesting changes in this patch. She has always been kind of a interesting champion to play in that she's not very interactive. She just kind of presses W on a wave and walks away. So Riot are trying to give her a more compelling play pattern and more reasons to do different things. So now her passive heals her whenever she damages enemies, and her W's cooldown is reduced anytime her passive procs. It's no longer spell vamp, though it works very similar, and it gives her reduced W cooldown whenever she is able to apply it. So hopefully this gives Morgana a slightly better play pattern. Ornn is being nerfed in this patch. Surprising nobody, he's incredibly strong after he was buffed like 5 patches in a row. So he needed some nerfs, especially in regards to his damage, as he's dealing way too much of that. His W's damage is down, and the cooldown has been increased, so Ornn can't spam Bellows Breath quite as much as before. Sona is being nerfed as well. Her lane poke is incredibly overbearing, especially with Summon Aerie, so she is being cut down a little bit. Her Q's mana cost has been increased substantially, and the aura's damage bonus has been reduced. So Sona won't be chunking you quite as hard with just a Q auto attack. Zoe is being nerfed as well in this patch. I don't think she necessarily needs it, but a couple of these are just frustration issues when it comes to dealing with Zoe. Her W's bubble duration has been halved. It's now 20 seconds from 40 seconds, so yeah, you can punish Zoe for missing her bubbles and zone her away from them a little bit easier. Her E has also received some substantial changes. Its cooldown refund is only on champion hit as opposed to just a minion hit. The drowsy duration is up, and the drowsy slow has been reduced. The travel distance over a wall has also been reduced, and the trap radius has been reduced. So Zoe will actually have to be careful about when and where she's using her E, as opposed to just kind of spamming it over walls and putting people to sleep anyways. Finally, for champions, we have Zyra. These changes are attempting to get her back into a solo lane without making her overbearing as a support. Her base mana regen is up, her mana regen growth stat is down though. Her passive spawn range is reduced and the seed duration is reduced, but the plant duration has been increased overall and plant health has gone up. However, plants now die instantly to melee attacks, so if someone can close the distance on a plant, they will be rewarded by instantly killing it. If she kills an enemy, it reduces her W's cooldown, and it will instantly refresh her W's cooldown if she gets a champion takedown. Finally, her R and raged plants gain bonus health, so they won't die quite as easily if she manages to get down the Stranglethorns. Let's move on to items. Bramble Vest is being nerfed. It's too strong as a spot counter against basic attackers, so it's being changed. Its magic damage reflection has been changed from 15 flat damage to 3 flat damage plus 10% of your bonus armor. It'll still be very strong in the late game, but not quite as strong as just buying it early on to deal with someone like Fiora. Sunfire Cape is being buffed in coordination with these Bramble Vest nerfs. Sunfire Cape has a more compelling play pattern, so Riot are more inclined to give it some buffs and make incentivize tanks to try and build this first, as opposed to allowing people to build Bramble Vest. So the aura damage has been increased on Sunfire Cape to increase its power. Finally, let's go on to rune changes. There are a couple of runes that have been changed after this new system went live. Press the attack now adds exposure after the third attack, not during it. Lethal Temple's cooldown has been reduced. Fleet Footwork, now the base heal has been reduced at later ranks. The AD and AP heal ratio has been increased. And if the attack that procs it is a crit, the healing is increased by an additional 40%. Triumph's healing has been reduced as it's a little bit overbearing. Coup de Grace's base damage increase has also been reduced as it's another overbearing rune. Phase Rush now grants slow resistance to ranged users as well as melee users in order to get more ranged people to actually think about using it. And Kleptomancy no longer increases your attack range, and the table's been adjusted to reduce variance later on in the game. Overall, these should be nerfs to the best keystones in the game, some buffs to some underused keystones, in an attempt to get more interesting builds into the meta. And finally, one minor note, health bars have been changed, if you can't tell by looking on the screen. They look a little bit different. There are a couple of different flashes to indicate taking lots of damage or getting burst heals. There are icons to indicate if you have reduced armor or if you're otherwise going to take more damage, if you have an extra life, all sorts of things. Go ahead and check it out in-game. They look pretty neat. Anyways, that's going to be it for me today, guys. Go ahead and let me know which changes you're most excited for down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like. And if you really enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I upload a video every Monday, Friday, and on patch days as well. Once again, thank you guys so very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I will talk to you all later.